Hotep Senuhena Senut I Tiren Ishakandugu Kemet. I hope you're doing well. This is a pre-recorded video and the title is Canaanite Disease. I'm going to quote from this book here entitled Pharaoh's Land and Beyond, Ancient Egypt and Its Neighbors. On page 271, we have the section or chapter, if you will, number 15. And it says illness from afar, epidemics and their aftermath. And it is written by Rosalie Davis. I'm sorry, not Davis, David, Rosalie David. Before I go on and quote, I want to show you her credentials. Let's see if this is large enough. All right, you might want to turn the full screen mode on. Okay, that will do like that. So this is Wikipedia. Anne Rosalie David, OBE, which is the most excellent order of the British Empire. It's an award. And FRSA, another award known as the Royal Society for the Encouragement of Arts, Manufacture and Commerce. RAC, also known as the Royal Society of Arts. Born May 13, 1946, is a British Egyptologist and emeritus professor at the University of Manchester. David served as director of the International Mummy Database. Early life and education. David was born in Cardiff. She was inspired to become an Egyptologist when her teacher showed her a drawing of the pyramids at Abu Sir. She completed a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Ancient History at University College London in 1967. She joined the University of Liverpool for her graduate studies, gaining a PhD in 1971. Her thesis considered ancient Egyptian temple rituals. Research and career. David arrived at the University of Manchester in 1972. She established the Manchester Egyptian Mummy Project at the University of Manchester in 1973. In 74, she began to give educational talks on Nile cruises. In 75, she found mummy number 1770, which contained evidence of guinea worm disease. She joined the Manchester Literary and Philosophical Society in 76. David was a director of the KNH Center for Biological and Forensic Studies in Egyptology at the University of Manchester for 25 years. She was the first woman to become a professor of Egyptology. She worked as keeper of Egyptology at the Manchester Museum. She pioneered biomedical research in Egyptology, studying disease, living conditions, pharmacy, and medicine in ancient Egypt. In the late 90s, she established the only Egyptian mummy tissue bank. She directed the schisto- schistomiasis investigation project. She worked in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Population in Egypt. They found tissues and antibodies against schistomiasis in the mummies in Manchester. She was awarded the British Council Medal at the Anglo-French Medical Society in September 99. David used Raman spectroscopy to study ancient Egyptian pigments. David was appointed an officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, in the 2003 New Year's honors for services to Egyptology. David is vice president of the Egypt Exploration Society. David appeared in several film and TV shows about Egypt, working on mummies, secrets of the pharaohs, private lives of the pharaohs, and the story of science. By studying remains from ancient Egypt, David found evidence that cancer is a man made disease caused by modern pollution and diet in 2010. She identified that the rich banquets offered to ancient Egyptians she identified that the rich banquets offered to ancient Egyptian gods could block the arteries of high priests who took the offerings home from temple for their families. David is an emeritus professor at the University of Manchester, having retired in 2012. She spoke at TEDx King's College London in 1913, and here you can see all her books. There are quite a few. And finally, you can see website. It links to the website of the University of Manchester. And when we click on it, we can see that she is listed. So you know how to find her credentials. She's definitely listed. Rosalie Davis, OBE, BA, PhD, FRSA, Professor Emeritus, Division of Cell Matrix Biology and Regenerative Medicine. You have an email address. Research interest. Okay, I'm not going to go through all this. But studies on disease and living conditions in ancient Egypt, pharmacy in ancient Egypt project, and ancient Egyptian religion, the history of medicine. Now that we have seen her credential and we have seen that it is official, I can go to the quote. So, once again, the book is entitled Pharaoh's Land and Beyond, Ancient Egypt and Its Neighbors. It is page 280 to 282. Now, the editors of the book are Peace Paul Chrisman and Richard H. Wilkinson, who is actually the author of, where is it? The book about the ancient Egyptian art. Oh, snap. Reading Egyptian art. Oh, there it is. Oh, I have too many books on my desk. Now it's the same old thing because of the background, but I think you can still see that's the book Reading Egyptian art. All right. The Asiatic or Canaanite disease. The main source of information about this disease are 8 spells in the Edwin Smith Surgical Papyrus, second intermediate period, that are devoted to exorcising an annual epidemic known as the pest of the year. It was generally believed that the epidemics were brought about by malignant deities, demons, the disembodied dead, and the wind. These incantations were addressed to benign gods and spirits so that they would protect and heal the patients, and also to the bringers of disease, especially the goddess Sekhmet, in the hope of placating her. It is remarkable that some of these incantations identify the wind as a carrier of disease agents. This is the earliest extant reference to the idea that pestilence could be transferred in the air. The sixth incantation identifies a fly as a potential disease agent. However, this does not imply that the Egyptians were aware of the biological role of insects and disease transmission. The spell was merely intended to render the fly ineffective by expelling it from the patient's stomach and intestines. Another incantation exorcises the disease pest from food, bedding, and household articles. Although this recalls modern practices of disinfecting food and other items because they may harbor bacteria and viruses, which modern microbiological techniques have been able to identify. The Egyptians were unaware that these organisms existed. The intention of this spell was simply to utilize magic as an effective means of cleansing the home. The text identify the wind, breath, or the arrows of night demons, Sekhmet's messengers, as agents of hostility who could transmit disease, malignancy to mankind. The use of arrows is associated with the belief that diseases without an obvious cause were the result of an external agent invading the body. The arrows transmitted Sekhmet's rage to the victim, who subsequently developed a pathological condition. The term Asiatic or Canaanite indicates that the disease was associated in some way with neighboring lands, although it is unclear if the name implies that the pestilence originated in these regions. An alternative speculation is that the name possibly refers to the Asiatic population at Tel El Daba in the Delta, who may have been affected by an unconfirmed epidemic in the 13th dynasty. Later evidence indicates that the disease apparently arrived at the turn of the year, coinciding with the Nile inundation, at a time of mythological chaos and confusion, when Sekhmet and her messengers caused destruction, disease, and death. Inscriptions infer that the pestilence occurred regularly but did not always result in death. Last quote, last part of the quotation. None of the text clearly defines the symptoms associated with this condition, making it impossible to specifically identify the disease. It was obviously a type of epidemic pestilence, and possibilities include the biblical plagues and malaria. However, Giori has suggested that the illnesses mentioned in the Edwin Smith papyrus can be identified with three diseases found in the Ebers papyrus and other sources, which may describe different types of well-known endemic febrile diseases such as typhoid and dengue fever. The texts indicate that the illnesses were spread by air or breath and were commonly defined by a fever that caused physical weakness. Giori concludes that the term pestilence of the year probably did not apply to one specific disease but embraced a more diverse group of infections that may have included typhoid, typhus, and dengue fever. And finally, in the Bible, book of Malachi, chapter 4, verse 2, this is a King James version. It says, "But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall." Now, this artifact here is from the Louvre Museum. The picture was taken by yours truly. And you do have a depiction of the winged sun disk. So I thought it was a strange coincidence because it talks about healing in the wings. And we are talking about a son of righteousness. So thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. I don't argue, I state facts. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Stay safe, stay healthy. If I'm allowed to by the Necheru, I will definitely holler back at you. Duaitu Duanicheru Hotel.
Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving medical nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay? So, those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Ma'at before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had, ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody is interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Neture classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Neture class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.